Your vocabulary words for today are antonyms. They mean the opposite of one another. The first word is static. Static means showing little or no change, action, or progress. Please write this definition on the top of your notebook paper. The second word for today is dynamic. Dynamic means always active, changing, or progressing. Please write down this definition on your notebook paper. These words can be used in many different contexts. You might hear these words in science class or even in PE. A static object, for example, could be a soccer ball sitting on a field. Left alone, the object would be static. It's showing little or no change, action, or progress. However, if a student comes along and kicks the ball, now the ball would be dynamic. It would be active, changing, and progressing. In reading class, these words are often used to describe types of characters. There are static characters and dynamic characters. A static character is a character that stays the same throughout the story. A dynamic character is a character that changes due to the events and the conflict in the story. These two student-drawn comic strips are a simple example of the difference between a static and a dynamic character. In the first comic strip, the character hates apples and is offered an apple. He eats the apple, and afterwards he still hates apples. He's stayed the same. His point of view hasn't changed due to the events of the story. However, in the second comic strip, the character hates apples, is offered an apple, tries the apple, and decides that he actually loves apples. He's changed his opinion and a way of looking at things because of the events of the story. He's a dynamic character. Below your definitions of static and dynamic, please draw this graphic organizer. Title it Cinderella, and then make 4 boxes. The first box needs to be labeled beginning, and then have an arrow pointing to the second box, end, and title it static. The second group of boxes needs to be labeled beginning. Draw an arrow, write dynamic, and then write end with the second box. A static character in Cinderella is Cinderella's stepmother. Go ahead and label your static part of your graphic organizer Cinderella's stepmother. At the beginning of Cinderella, a character trait of Cinderella's stepmother is that she's cruel and selfish. She only wants things for herself and for her real children and doesn't care about Cinderella. Unfortunately, after the story is over at the end, Cinderella's stepmother is still cruel and selfish and hasn't changed very much from the events of the story. This makes her a static character. Please label your graphic organizer as I have here. Cinderella, on the other hand, is a dynamic character. Please label your graphic organizer under dynamic as Cinderella. At the beginning of Cinderella, Cinderella is kind, but she's also poor, mistreated, and disappointed. However, by the end of the events of the story, Cinderella is now still kind, but she's rich, she's joyous, she's happy because she's getting to marry the prince. Please label your graphic organizer as I have mine. Now that you've labeled your graphic organizer, go back now on your own to the empty boxes that we have created and draw pictures representing Cinderella before and after as a dynamic character, and also her stepmother before and after as a static character.